Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront Updates. Man, what a finale to the Rebel series. I haven't done a lot of reviews for the different episodes, but now that the entire series has come to an end, I really wanted to share my thoughts on this finale, as it was quite amazing and had a lot of surprises, to say the least. So obviously this video is going to contain spoilers for the Rebel series, so if you haven't seen the finale yet, please click away from this video. I just wanted to give you my unfiltered thoughts, really. No structure, no script, just my thoughts right after seeing the series end. And there's a lot of things going on in my head, and the first thing I can say is that I was surprised to see so much people survive. Pretty much everyone from the Ghost crew survived, except for Kanan in one of the previous episodes, obviously, but I really didn't think that both Ahsoka and Ezra would survive. And in case you didn't know already, Dave Filoni did confirm in the Rebels Recon episode on the Star Wars YouTube channel that both Ezra and Thrawn has survived. But the weird thing is that we get to see in the entire epilogue how what happens up until Return of the Jedi and beyond, and they still don't mention Ezra and Thrawn, so I'm kind of guessing that they're stuck out in some weird place for a quite long time, actually, which I find to be fairly weird. But it's gonna be interesting to see how we're gonna get a conclusion to that, if the next series might happen to be after Return of the Jedi and we will get some of the characters back. But I'm not sure what I think about the whole Ahsoka and Ezra part. Ezra, I would have been fine if he died. Actually, Ahsoka too, because I feel like they emphasize so much in the original trilogy that Luke is the one and only who can bring balance to the Force. I mean, Ahsoka isn't a Jedi anymore, so they can disregard her, but she's still a light side Force wielder, and she's definitely more powerful than Luke was in A New Hope. But Ezra is kind of a Jedi, so I would think that he would have died. But I am very glad about Ahsoka. I'm extremely happy that she survived. She's been one of my favorite characters for a while, and a lot of you know that whenever you ask me if I wanted to be a Sith or a Jedi, I always bring up Ahsoka, saying that I think she's the perfect middle ground, where you're not as stupid as a Jedi, but you're still on the good side and you're not afraid to do what is necessary. So I'm extremely happy to see that she actually survives beyond Return of the Jedi, which means that she actually got to see or hear about the redemption of her master, which is incredible. And it leaves so much opportunities for the continuation of her story, and maybe we'll even get to see some interaction between her and Luke in some future content. And then I love the whole part with Kallus and Zeb going back to the Lasat planet. I don't recall the name right now, but that also gives redemption to that arc. And our boy Rex is finally canonized to be on Endor. At least I would think so, based on what they say in the epilogue. Because there's already been, I guess, talks. I think Dave Filoni had a panel where he talked about that character on Endor. But I don't think he was officially canonized, whereas now they actually said that he was indeed in the Battle of Endor. So it does make a lot of sense that this is officially now Rex. There's a lot of things that just tied together in the epilogue, and I was actually really surprised to hear that Hera and Kanan actually got a kid, so maybe that's someone we'll see a continuation of in future content. Overall, I felt like this entire ending left opportunities for the next series. I don't think they have confirmed what the next series will be, or even if there will be another animated series, although I would be surprised if there isn't one. But I've always thought that it would fit to have after Return of the Jedi, to kind of bridge the gap before The Force Awakens, and now it does make sense when they left so many characters alive that could come back. I feel like Zeb and Kallus might be out of the actual story for now, but Hera and her son could definitely come back, as well as Ezra, Ahsoka, and Thrawn, of course, and Sabine as well. So there's a lot of characters that, although they did get some conclusion in the epilogue, still have a lot of open ends to tie together, and they can't just leave Ezra and Thrawn out of nowhere forever. I feel like we need to get a conclusion to that somehow. And I feel like I've mostly just talked about the epilogue right now, so what do I think about the actual episodes and the story in them? I think the issue with Rebels I've had, which I guess makes a lot of sense since it is aimed at maybe the younger audience, is that the battles are always kind of like stupid how they never actually slice someone with lightsaber. They always just cut their weapons, and they seem to have like massive plot armor on the main characters, and some people survive things that I'm like, what? For instance, that little pig friend of Hondo, I'm sorry I don't remember the name. How did he survive all of a sudden? Gregory did die, which was a sad moment. At least we got some casualties to show the kind of seriousness of this episode, but why did Hondo's friend survive all of a sudden? And Ezra even got shot like in the shoulder. In the arm, sure, that's one thing, but he actually got shot in the shoulder, almost the back, so that should probably have hurt him a lot, whereas the stormtroopers just go down if you hit them slightly. So I don't know, that's the kind of things I've always struggled with the Rebel series, and I actually thought they did it better in the Clone Wars series. It did feel a bit more mature in the end than the Rebels does, but since there was so much kind of overall story things going on in this episode, that's what I took away from it the most, not the nitpicky stuff with small individual fights, and that's why I wanted to discuss that more. And also, I haven't even talked about that yet, but the Senate was, of course, in this episode. And man, Ian McDiarmid did such an amazing job with him, because we got to see the kind of young and light side, almost Palpatine in that hologram when he tried to trick Ezra into opening the portal to the world in between. At least that's what I think he was doing. He was obviously trying to trick Ezra, because Palpatine couldn't actually get access to that himself, so he needed Ezra as a gateway, so he tried to trick him. It was just amazing to hear Ian McDiarmid back, and you could so clearly hear that it was actually him. In the previous episode, where the Emperor didn't have too much presence, it wasn't as obvious, but he did an amazing job here, and I'm always so excited when we get some new official canon material with Palpatine in it, so that was something I was very happy to see. And we finally get to see the Red Guards fight. At least I think those were the Red Guards. They kind of looked like something in between the Praetorian Guards and the Royal Red Guards, but I think those were the Royal Red Guards. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they had some kind of really powerful force-ish almost weapon that could like lift up Ezra in the air and hold him there, which seems to be a lot more powerful than what the Praetorian Guards had. So maybe Snoke could have learned a lesson or two from Palpatine in terms of that, but that was really cool to see them in fight and not just stand there like idiots and get smacked into the wall by Yoda. And overall, I'm very happy with the ending and what it leaves for the future. And actually, I haven't been too excited for a potential Rebels season for Battlefront 2, but watching this, I thought there was so much potential of things they could do. Obviously, add things like the Ghost, they could make a Lothal map, and now we have those Red Guards, which I think would be really cool. Maybe those weapons would be quite tricky to have in the game, but at least have fight style themed Red Guards compared to the previous game where they just ran around with T-21s. So if they wanted to make a Rebels episode, I definitely think there's a lot of material for that. But again, Clone Wars content first. I fully agree on the community with that, but hopefully this game will have the longevity that we all hope for. And if that's the case, we definitely have room for a Rebels season sometime in the future. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap up my thoughts on the Rebels finale. Obviously, nothing too insightful. That's not what my channel is for. If you want something really in-depth going into all the details, I would as always recommend you to check out Alex Star Wars Explained, because he's gonna have a really good review out tomorrow probably, because I know he's currently traveling. But I wanted to give you my thoughts anyways, and I'm really curious to hear, what do you guys think about the ending? What do you think about Palpatine, Ahsoka, Ezra, all that kind of stuff? And also, what do you think the next series could be? Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.